Well, it is the next day once again. Here's what we got. I got a bunch of grommets. This should be firewall wiring clamp type thing. Ordered 100 sheet metal screws for the headlight stuff, which would match up to the factory style. I can't find the trim ring to mount the other headlight. I thought I had one with this car when I was digging through a bunch of bins and boxes. I didn't see it yesterday, but it was also dark, so I gotta dive deeper into the trunk. I got a trans back there and a bunch of extra crap. So I might have to dig out some parts there. I did get my super cheap $18 gasket set. $13 gasket set, sorry. The $18 one came with floats, which the Edelbrock kit for $55 didn't come with. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna throw this together. I don't need the needles. I don't need any of the other stuff. Everything in this is working except the idle circuit. Really, I'm cleaning it. All I was gonna do was clean out the carb and put it back together and hopefully drive it. But way dirtier than I want it to be, so now I'm chasing down some other stuff. I got a Volvo wagon. You guys have not seen that yet, but I got a E6 Volvo 850 wagon, 5-speed. Super fun. I love it. 300,000 miles on it. But got the renewal from the DMV today. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll go re-register, get the new sticker for the plate on that, and then register the Falcon. I will preface this right now. I am back from the DMV. I don't have a sticker for the Volvo. A whole thing that I don't want to get into because I will spend the next 30 minutes ranting about how angry I am with the state of Illinois right now. But I also got plates for the Falcon, so it will be legal. It's expensive. I spent a lot of money today that I didn't have, especially when I got to put a new radiator in the truck. The money that I would have spent on the radiator is now tied up in the state of Illinois for the new car that I'm not going to be driving at all for the next X amount of months. But back to the carb. I'm going to throw you guys on the tripod. We're going to give this a quick once over, blow everything out, slap it back together, get this back on the car, and then mess around hopefully with the TV cable. I'm running out of daylight. It's already like 5:36. So I probably got about 45 minutes. If I can scramble through this, then this will go back on the car. Other than that, I just got to throw some gas in it because I drained the tank, well, whatever the fuel pump had in it. I ran it till it was bone dry yesterday or 2 days ago. So get the car back together, throw it back in the car, try and lay out the TV cable stuff. And other than that, it's just going to be zip tying up a bunch of miscellaneous crap and trying to stop parts from falling out, falling off, or falling where they shouldn't. I know the e-brake cables are dangling. I'll have to tie those up somewhere. I don't have an exhaust on it. Rear shock, I started messing around with that. I think I kind of know where that's at. We'll come to that in another video, though. Whatever. If it's sitting cockeyed and driving down the road like this, I'm okay with that, too. So that's where we're at. Let me throw you guys on a tripod. We'll blow out this Edelbrock carb and be hopefully running and driving. This is the best view I got for you right now because I have no space. I haven't cleaned anything. There's crap everywhere. If the chipmunk that's been living in my garage decides to make a guest appearance, awesome. That'd be fun. But here's where we're at. What I'm going to do on everything right now, and it's going to get really loud when the compressor kicks on, but for now, just hooking up a hose to a can of carb clean or brake clean. What do we got today? Today's brake clean. Good enough. But basically, I already went through and scraped off a ton of these gaskets. I'm not overly concerned about the black carbon buildup in the carb. That doesn't really matter to me. What I'm looking for right now is actually chasing through all of the passages to make sure that everything that should be getting fluid and airflow through them is working properly. So let me see if I can. This tripod's broken too, so I ran it over with the engine stand because I don't have any room. Hopefully this will work. Like I said, there's going to be a good amount of carbon buildup in all of this. This carb's been on several vehicles over the years. And the black just cleans up. Is it ideal for performance? Could you clean it up and make it flow a little better? Probably. But I don't really care about that right now. So we'll clean up a bunch of these passages. Just give it a quick blow out with some brake clean. I think I'm down to my last can right now, so I got to be somewhat conservative with this. Put that on the floor. But I will check these idle or the main jet passages. So if I spray this through on the front side, this will come up through here. Do wear safety glasses if you don't know where all these passages go. This is one of those things where I'll say that right now as a forewarning. I will guaranteed get some carb clean in the eyeball at some point today. Because I'm literally looking through the port in the passage for where this flows. So we're good there. We got a nice geyser coming through. Same thing on the other side. Nice geyser coming through. And we'll do the same thing on the secondaries, which are over here. That's good. That's good. There we go there. See if I can get a screwdriver and a rag down into these passages. Give this a quick little wipe. Clean up some of the crap that's sitting on the bottom of the bowl. Like I said, I'm not going crazy on this. There was just way more gunk and gack in here than I wanted to see. And we're going to blast this all with compressed air in a little bit anyway. There's those passages. Then we're on to, we can basically duplicate that coming back the other way. So the jet comes through there. And like I said, if it flows one way, usually it flows back the other way too. These ones get a little goofy because they cut through the side. Then I'm going to pull these idle screws out all the way. I'm going to retune the whole thing anyway once it's back together, so that doesn't really matter. Idle screw 1, idle screw 2. Don't lose your springs for those. Now, if I blow this back through the idle passage, you can see it come up above the transfer slot on the bowl there. Right there, like so. Right there. And it's going to come through this over here as well. Which is this little passage right down here. So with the screws out, if I spray through this hole, should get a nice stream coming out of that idle at the bottom. Hopefully you guys can see that, like so. Oh, this one might actually be a little dirty. There we go. Nice heavy flowing stream there. And on the bottom side, I'm just going to give this a quick cleanup. We're not going to go too crazy here. But all right, that should be about good there. Like I said, as long as I'm getting flow through these passages on the idle mixture screws, this is what your screws actually regulate, is the fuel that comes through these passages. You'll also notice it does go into the transfer slots. This is a super bad explanation. I'm also not overly trying to give you a full one-on-one. If you're looking for carb videos and want to know how every single circuit in this works, look elsewhere. There's tons of information. Muscle Car Solutions goes through these super well in detail. Uncle Tony's Garage, I believe. His are great if you want quick little ones, but seems like he knows what he's doing. I've never met him, but I learned a ton from his stuff too. I don't want to get into that on this one. It's just a quick refresh. The accelerator pump I already know is working. I'll actually fill this bowl for you. You can check that right now too. If you put all the fluid in there, where is my Excel? And I don't want to pull that off. So if you do to disassemble the top of the carb, there's a Phillips screw here. If you took this out and I took this plunger and put it in here and pumped it, I'll get squirting through here. Actually, let me see. There might be one in here. Yeah. Open up this brand new Chinese carb rebuild kit. Make sure you drop all your parts on the ground and get them good and dirty before you start doing an install. Gaskets can go there. Let me grab this plunger real quick. All right, here's our plunger. In theory, if I pump this, we should get shots of fuel right through these jets. This diaphragm is way smaller. There we go. See that? As I progressively go down, like I said, my old accelerator pump is working fine. So 2 good squirts right through these jets, like so. That's your accelerator pump. So that is working just fine. Now, floats are okay. I'm not going to readjust anything because I don't think I have to right this second. Top of the carb should be okay. I will blow through this because this is a filter that sits on the inside of this. We'll clean that one out, both sides, and then I'm going to blast this with compressed air as well. And that should come right through. If you hold it upside like this, we should get brake clean through both of the floats. You don't want to set them down like that, like I just did on the needles. It's really bad for it. But through the carb. We're going to pop this off and clean all this out real quick, actually. But let's go back to the boosters. Since everything is still intact on here, we have booster port. Just make sure that goes through and out there. This one down here comes up through. This one here, I like to go on the bottom side of this one. Comes out the bottom, through the center. You do want to make sure these little side hole passages here are clear as well. Sometimes it's a real good idea. If you can't see light through them, run a little safety wire through it. So in this case, I don't want to do this. I'm just going to load her up. Doing this off camera. Main booster is an important one. As you can see, it's flowing through on one side because there's not holes on both, which is fine. Make sure your vents are good. Good there. Those are your secondaries. And then on the primaries, same thing. You get a hole in the center of the booster. It's the one you definitely want to make sure you're getting full flow through. I don't know how much of this you're actually going to see because I'm not paying attention or looking through the phone. Just blowing these all out. Booster. On this one, you want to make sure this back passage is clear too. Really, it's just a matter of going through all of these and making sure everything is flowing the way it should. So there's that. That took way too long. You're probably not going to be able to see half of it, but now we can start reassembly on these. I'm going to reuse the secondary gaskets just because if I need to pull the carb off down the line and there's something I messed up, I can deal with that down the line. But I know the secondaries were actually in pretty okay shape. Now, don't forget your weights. This is what will open once it has enough vacuum to overcome this for your secondaries to open. I meant to grab the drills for this at the shop. I forgot. So we're going to do it the wrong way and use the undersized one. Get them close because I'm in a rush. Since we're actually literally fighting daylight. You don't have to hulk these down like crazy. The main primaries, I will actually regasket because those ones ripped a little bit coming out. So those ones I will have to redo. So basically, this is the one that tore. I'm going to turn it off while I clean that up real quick and then slap the new one on. All right, so scrape the gaskets off of these real quick. They're not too hard to get off correctly. Lay this out, see what it looks like. Like I said, Chinese gaskets might not be absolutely perfect Could take a little bit of trimming and modifying to make work, which doesn't look too bad yet. I'll go here. Like I said, I don't have the right bit on there still. It's just like yesterday. I haven't replaced that one yet. But it's okay. Actually, doesn't fit too bad. Just a matter of making sure you line everything up proper. Like I said, it's all aluminum parts. You don't have to go crazy and hulk a ton of things down here for it to work. There we are. Now, on the lid, here's the floats. You 100% want to adjust these every time. Make sure they stayed where they're supposed to. However, I don't really care. Not the right way to do it at all. You should. They're important and they matter. But we'll drop the gasket back on. Been pretty careful with this since it's been here. Here's where we're at. Gasket's going on. Floats will then go back in. Make sure everything lines up since this is a Chinese gasket and I don't know how well it's going to be made. Yeah, close enough for me. Floats will go back in. It's really hard to do when you're looking through a camera lens. All right, so you do want this to be at about a 7/16 float height. You don't want them sticking, you don't want them hanging up. But that's fine. Good enough for me. Now, fun part. Most of the time you do want to pull these metering rods out when you're putting this back together. Because you don't want them to get caught in the jet. I'm going to try. If they drop in even, which doesn't always happen, we're going to go for it. If not, pop this out real quick. Might as well do one thing right. And now you can see what metering rods look like. The springs are still in there. I'm going to leave those as well. And I need to drop the accelerator pump spring in too. Like so. Now the lid drops down like it's supposed to. Get all of these outer screws in. Gasket is in. And the needles will drop down after. Then we got to put the idle mix screws in. I still am going to pop the filter fitting out of here too. Once the body's together, it's just easier to leverage it that way. Carb is back together. Accelerator pump linkage can go back together. I need to do this right now. Yeah, why not? Leave it in the middle. I don't know where that's going to need to be yet. Then metering rods. Drop down the hole on top of the spring like so. So like I said, when you pull these to put the lid back on, you're basically just making sure that the rod will line up in the jet. You want it to fall down all the way. Do not jam on that. It should drop in on its own. If it does not, it's not lining up with the jet passage. And you don't want to distort or break the tips on those. This one decided to stick, which is cool. Let's lift it up. The spring is still in there. I don't know what weight springs I have in here. It's been a while. Unfortunately, this is not at all a stock carb or stock Edelbrock carb anymore. I've changed this a ton for the truck. I don't remember where I'm at with that. But that's good enough for now. Enough to stay at least. Gaskets are in. Everything's pretty much done. I'm going to pop this fitting off, blow the crap out of this on the inside because there's a filter on the back side of this. And then hook up these extra arm linkages that I misplaced or disconnected. I got the choke arm. This one is directional. Let's see where I'm at here. This one clips here. The one that's fixed that stayed to the actual butterfly on the choke is going to get clipped here with one of the little snap clips that I always tend to lose. Luckily, the new rebuild kit comes with a bunch of those too. Then this goes through the hole here. Push, snap that on. Now my choke is hooked up. The other one is grooved on one side. Focus. You got your snap ring side for the little clip, and then this side is the directional one. Come on. Take my word for it. It's got a groove in it. If you notice on this is not a perfectly round hole. There's also the groove. Line up the groove. The sharp part goes in. It goes in one way. Then it swings up, and then we'll line up on the upper choke, like so. Take your last snap clip, E-clip, not really an E, Edelbrock clip, let's call it that. And that will drop down right over. A pair of needle nose works really well here. If you got big hands, then like so. And now we got our carburetor. Still got to put the mixture screws in. I'm going to clean out this fitting real quick. We'll be back. All right, so I cleaned the fuel passage over here. I thought I had a mini filter in there. This one does not have it. Some of them do, some of them don't. I don't remember. There's also the external bulky filter that comes out from there that you can run. I think I got one of those over here on the shelf, but that's fine. So now I'm running these idle mixture screws back in. I just set them all the way to the bottom. Here's our angle. We're going to go half, one, half, two. I'm going to start them both at 2 turns out. Half, one, half, 2. That on there so you're not going farther than you need to, but that's it. Now, this will go back to the car. We're going to throw this on. I got 2 springs to hook up on the linkage there. I'm going to leave the air filter nub out because I'm not messing with that right now. Then, drop those back in there. Base gasket's still good, so I don't need that one. That's that. We're going to come over to the car real quick. I'm going to drop this onto the car, see if we can get this thing started up again. Okay, so back onto the car. I dropped it on the car already. All I did, it's studded, so essentially take the 4 bolts, slides right over the 4 studs in the manifold. The gasket's already on there, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, got 2 bolts on this side. So, one in the front, one in the back. You should run washers here. And I will put washers on at another juncture, but that's not going to happen right this second. Got a little puddle of oil on the back of the trans. I don't know where that's from, or how old or new it is. Future John problems. Then on the fancy bracket, same deal. You got 2 studs. Just make sure they go on. You want to get these on evenly. It's a little goofy because I need to make sure everything clears. Hopefully I took enough off on this. 2 brackets here. 2 studs here. All right, so I definitely still need to take more off on this side. Bracket's clear, it'll work for now, but add it to the list of things that I want to address. See what happens when we snug it up. No binding there. carb opens and closes, that's fine. Then we just got the 2 springs and a throttle cable. So spring here. Don't remember which way works best on this. Go this way to here. So this is adjustable, so I can adjust the tension on this down the line if I have to, or the mounting locations of this down the line. I think this is the first time I've done a carburetor and didn't have a ton of brake clean end up going back in my face. That works. This is just an extra wire that I don't know where it goes yet. So get rid of that. These wires, ideally you don't want the spark plug wires dangling around like this. This mount down here is for the TV cable that I still need to adjust, but I'm running out of daylight here. Fuel lines dangling here, lots of extra crap dangling here, all of which I will go through before the actual driving part. But what I would like to do is at least get the fuel lines hooked up completely and fire this thing up, make sure it's running. See if this will take throttle and rev up like it's supposed to, like it used to. I got a vacuum line. One of these right here. That's got to get mounted in the car, so I can diag what's going on the inside of the motor. And then a couple bumps on the starter and we should be about good.